Yes, still on This Morning on ITV, on the wing of Nationalism and You, I remain your host, Ebenezer Oyetakin, to take a look at another issue concerning poverty. This week, on the 17th precisely of this month, the world celebrated the World Poverty Day. It is in the light of this that we want to examine the status of Nigeria and the progress we have been making in the fight against poverty. And with me to examine this, we have in the house Honorable Sunday Yusuf Acho. Honorable Sunday Yusuf Acho, in the spirit of nationalism and you.
It's my duty to build this nation.
Very well. It is our duty to build Nigeria nation. No one will do it for us. And if you are there at home watching us, place your hand on your chest and do the same. In your office, everywhere you are. We just celebrate the World Poverty Day. It is intended to reawaken leaders to their duties and responsibility of ensuring that poverty is defeated in their respective nation. How will you assess Nigeria's fight against poverty?
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. And when I talk of poverty, the history of mankind is the history of consistent struggle against poverty. And poverty, the history of poverty has old as mankind itself. And the negative impact of poverty on individual and society cannot be overemphasized. And as a matter of fact, I don't belong to the school of thought that says that Nigeria is the epicenter of poverty in the world.
Some people, yes, I wanted to ask you, they said Nigeria is the capital of what is the capital of poverty?
Yeah, in the world.
What yes.
I don't belong to that school of thought, because the two metrics used to measure how rich or poor a country is gross domestic product, GDP per capita, and gross national income per capita. When you put this into consideration, with the statistics available to me, I think Burundi, countries like Burundi, Somalia, and the rest should be the poorest. And when you travel, outside the South of Africa, Syria, when you travel to Syria and come back to Nigeria, you don't need any argument. Nigeria is blessed. No, why I don't belong to that school of thought is that Nigeria, to me, it's a paradox. It's not the epicenter of poverty, or it's not the poverty headquarters of the world. What I believe is that Nigeria is a paradox. A paradox in the sense that Nigeria is a country that is richly blessed, that's wealthy, but still our people are very, very poor. This is the paradox. And why? There are some a lot of factors responsible for this. One of them is corruption, and the second one is a system of government being run by this country, whereby there is joint account between the states and the local government. So that distribution of wealth, because majority of Nigerians live at the grassroots, maybe 70%. But the money that's supposed to go to the local government, where the majority of Nigerians are, that money don't reach there. The governors divert this money, and by so doing, they incapacitate the local government chairman to the extent financially, to the extent that they cannot pay salary. So when they don't pay, when they can't pay salary, how will they take care of their family? Because when they pay salary and the money reaches the local government, they know this staff, they go to the market, they have the purchasing power, they want to be spreading. So the situation whereby people, the market women, don't see buyers. You see that the poverty is being consolidated at the grassroots, and this is where the majority of Nigerians live.
What do you think can be done to turn around such so that the poverty at that level can be lifted from our people?
Well, I want to really appreciate Mr. President for his consistent effort in making sure a joint account is abolished. He has been trying, but the governors are not cooperating with him. So what should be done is that the government, the president, to be specific, should put a mechanism in place to make sure the money reaches the local government chairman. Because the money reaches the local government chairman can do a lot of things in the area of security, the area of infrastructure. If you travel abroad, you see that the municipals, local governments, they do a lot of things. They are engaged in developmental projects and other activities, and thus poverty at the grassroots, can be mitigated.
Very well. Now, there are many people that will disagree with you that Nigeria is not the poverty headquarters of the world, because they do not probably have the statistic that you had and the rest of it. What is the ratio of the GDP and the gross national income that convinced you that Nigeria is truly not the capital of world poverty?
Before you can get the accurate data, the GDP, when you multiply it by the total population, you get the GDP per capita. Nigeria is so blessed. We are wealthy. We are blessed. As a matter of fact, the income generated through tax in this country is voluminous. The consistent income from the sale of crude oil is big. So, and if you put all this into consideration, you discover that Nigeria is still better off than some countries in Africa that have been ravaged by drought, that they cannot move farm. No, rain does not fall there. You see physical poverty. I gave you an example about Burundi, and when to Ethiopia, some countries rainfall there maybe 3 times a year, 4 times a year. There's some countries fast.
Someone was saying last week that when people say that Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world, that he laughs because Nigeria is not even among the 30th poorest country, not among the 40th. That Nigeria, as per the rating of 2020-21, Nigeria is even ahead of India, because India was 1,900 and something in gross national income, while Nigeria is about 2,000 in gross national income and things of that nature. Then coupled with the fact that Nigeria is the largest economy in the continent of Africa, with about 440 billion in GDP and things of that nature. Your take?
Yeah, that's very, very correct, because I did international relations at the master's level at second degree, and when you compare nations, because at that level you compare nations, you discover that Nigeria is far better. Nigeria is not even among the 10 poorest countries in Africa.
Not even among 30?
Yeah,
not among 40?
Yeah, exactly. So we have this data available to us. But the problem we have in this country, on one government to...
So was it just an exaggeration people are doing?
Yeah, it's a kind of over-exaggeration. Let me just say over-exaggeration. And it's politics. Because Nigeria is the giant of Africa, and the Western media would like to portray Nigeria as a very weak country, you know.
But what about the capacity of the people to feed themselves? As we are witnessing in Nigeria today, many families seems to be below the tolerable level of poverty.
Yeah, of course, there's no saying that fact. I think the challenge we have in this country is overpopulation, in the sense that we are not managing our population, because Nigerian population are not producing.
I wanted to say, is population not supposed to be our blessing?
No. It's a blessing when the government convert it into energy for production. When the government, you know, take advantage of the population by going to agriculture, like China and India, because in 2006, India was able to lift 270 million people out of poverty between 2006 and 2016. Why? Because they went back to land. Okay. So it will not be a blessing if you deliberately and intentionally go back to land, into agriculture. Because what is happening right now...
our president have also promised that he will lift about 100 million out of poverty in 10 years.
It's possible. Because if India would do that, within 2006 and 2016, India had lifted 270 million out of poverty. So if you do what they did, I think we'll get the same result. I'm very, very optimistic about that. So that the challenge we have in this country, the individuals were not cooperating with the government, in the sense that when you give birth to many children that you cannot feed, you cannot train, you are producing liability to the nation, because the government is trying, but why we're not feeling the impact is because the birth rate, or the birth rate and is more than the economic growth. People are giving birth to children recklessly without control. So no matter the mitigation strategy government put in place, you look as if government is not working, because there's no birth control. So it's not the onus now lies on government to be deliberate about it, in the sense that government should come up with national family program, national family planning program that will make sure we control our population.
But some other people may agree with you, because may disagree with you, because I have heard even an elder statesman that that said our poverty in Nigeria is man-made. He said our poverty in Nigeria is man-made because we are not loyal institutionally to create a national wealth. We are not trying to make the national cake a very big one. For example, he said Nigeria ought to be running in a gross national domestic of about $1 trillion, not rejoicing over $500 billion, and that is dollars now, not naira. And we have also heard that revenues that could be accruable from such issues as stamp duties, 50 naira, 100 naira from bank transactions alone, runs into trillions and can even supersede oil revenue.
Yes.
And from mining sector and other sectors of the economy, you know, and agencies, if the taxes and every other revenues are correctly channeled into government coffer, it will maximize our national productivity and it will ensure that we are able to make the defeat of poverty easier. Your take on this?
Well, from what you just said, Nigeria should not have a problem with poverty. And I agree with that is man-made. And that is where problem of corruption comes in. Because this money always end up in individual pockets. Very few Nigerians. That's why I'm in love with this present government. Because as far as I'm concerned, although you can see that there's no corruption in this government, but the leadership has led by example. And that's why we can see where our money is going. So Nigeria has faced a lot of corruption problem before now. Corruption is a big problem in this country, and there's no way, the money that's meant for developmental projects will end up in the pocket of individuals, and the country will move forward. So the government should energize the institution that we have already, like EFCC, ICPC, so that corruption can be reduced to the barest minimum.
Many people think that President Muhammadu Buhari is an epitome of incorruptibility and has done so much by body language and by leading by example and the rest of it. But they disagree that enough is not being done to internalize the fight against corruption, which the president himself epitomized. That enough is not being done to make sure that the Nigerian people own the fight, front the fight, so that the question of sustainability, when Buhari is out of place, will be answered. Your take on this?
Yeah, one of the solutions to that is institutionalizing anti-corruption crusade or mechanism. Because when you have strong institution, even though Buhari is there or not, the institution should be able to fight the corruption and other vices in this country. So what we need to do, collectively, is to strengthen our institutions at the national level, local government, state level, and local government level. Because corruption, is everywhere. In the civil service, at the grassroots level, at the state level, there's corruption. So what we need in this country is strong institutions, that is above any individual. That's what we need in this country.
Well, again, what about political will to implement reforms that are necessary? For example, the president directed that, like the stamp duties that come from the bank, that a different account should be created for it in the central bank, and when the different account is created for it and the rest of it, that the revenue that is generated and the rest of it should come into that account. But that instructions was not obeyed, was not carried out by the central bank according to the report and things of that nature. So what is the place? For example, just like when under former President Jonathan, there was innovation about the single treasury account, but it takes Buhari's political will to get it implemented and things of that nature. And there was also these issues of harmonizations of the parastatals and government agencies, so that there would be no duplicity, which was headed by a panel of the Oresoya committee and things of that nature. All of these things are not being implemented so that we can streamline governance in such a way that it can be swift in delivering the potent blow to poverty and things of that nature. Your take? Well,
we are running a federal system of government. We have the executive, the legislature and the judiciary, and this will enhance check and balances. And the legislature should have a lot, they have a lot of work to do, because all these parastatals and agencies, they fall under committees at the National Assembly. So it's their responsibility for the to execute their oversight over these parastatals and agency. So if they should enforce the power that the Constitution has given to them, I think these agencies must comply. If they don't comply, I think there are penalties, and if they
are we seeing much of that penalty now? Because there seems to be impunity at the way that these things are carried out.
Yeah, there's impunity because the legislature are not doing their work. Oversight, because after budget has been approved, the implementation and everything, they should be done, collectively by the legislature, because they are the one that monitor to make sure the budgets are being implemented to the letter, to make sure governmental policies is being, implemented. So you should not leave it to the executive alone. So, federalism, is a beautiful system that enhances check and balances.
Talking of multi-sectoral approach to defeating poverty, do you think this government is doing enough?
Yeah. It's trying, but its effort might not be enough. But to me, the optimism index is very high. What the government of President Muhammad Buhari has done is to leave the optimism index very, very high, because one of the problem, or one of the factors why we have poverty in this country, is because of crisis, insurgency and what I feel, Boko Haram. Farmers can no longer go to farm, and a lot of money, was budgeted before now, but the money disappeared. Budgeted to fight the insurgency by equipping the military. So if you could remember Saransi Gate, a lot of money was budgeted, and we didn't see the money and we didn't see the equipment. But Buhari now, is equipping the military, is buying these facilities to fight insurgency. I think last week the remainder of the Tucano fighter jets just arrived. If this mechanism is in place, I think the optimism index is very high, that with time the insurgency problem and other insecurity basis will be brought to the minimum. Well, the farmers cannot go back to farm for production.
Let me agree with you that overcoming the challenges of the security challenges, which will automatically makes our farmers to return to the farm and cultivate the soil and produce much more food and that kind of a thing, is one angle of defeating poverty.
Yes.
But coming to the other issues, for example, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari have set a pace, which I remember last week, the ADB, African Development Bank managing director, what do they call him, Femi so said that the African countries want to be following the template of Nigeria in creating youth investment fund, and if possible to translate it to youth investment bank and things of that nature, to which President Muhammadu Buhari have given approval of 75 billion, and 25 it will roll on 25 billions on yearly basis and things of that nature. To what extent are the youth having access to this?
Well, that program I think is compatible with Mr. President's Empower program. You know, I think they go the same direction in mitigating poverty, you know, among the youth.
Are the youth having free access to it the way it
No,
ought to
no,
be?
no. The fact is that, you know, any grants or money like that, you know, comes with conditionalities. You know, it's not left for the agency concerned or the bank to reduce the conditions for accessing this loan. If they reduce it, I think many youths will have access to it. Because
are there enough awareness apart from conditions? Does it to guide?
Yeah. You know, we are living in the era of communication and information technology. So, and most of our youth, they have this phone, they are on internet, so it's very easy to disseminate information now. So I don't think awareness will be challenged, because we are living in the era of communication and information technology. So it's we have access to information now.
Some people have also talked about the government social investment program as a way of addressing poverty. In your assessment, is this effective enough? Traders' money, unconditional transfer, and all of those kind of a thing. Yeah, some people have also criticized them that is not the way to go. That investment would have been better than all of that. Your take on this?
Well, I think it's one of the strategy of poverty eradication. You know, when you put India strategy, even Chinese strategy into consideration, they did something similar, which went a long way in helping the poor. The fact is that why it seems like there's no much impact is because of the population. You know, how many percentage of the youth have access to the fund or to the mitigants? So the population is big challenge. You know, we have I know, for example, Nigeria is over 200 million in population. So when you consider the percentage of people that have access to this fund, you look as if we are not doing anything.
Now, talking about population, India is having over 1 billion population. I think 1 billion, about 80 million or so, or 100 million. Then China is having a population of about 1.4, 1.5 billion and things of that nature. A statistic some years ago says that even at that, China with population of 1.5 billion feeds their population more effectively than United States with 350 billion. Yet United States inadvertently control almost world economy to the tune of almost about a quarter of world economy and things of that nature. Taking this into consideration, is the excuse of population germane when we're talking about addressing poverty?
Yeah, like India.
Or it should be about converting our population to assets?
Yeah, no, this country just called now. They were able to manage and develop their population, like India, through IT. You know, I can see that the population of India, they are more literate when compared to population of Nigeria, because no country can develop without literacy. You have problem of education, you know, in this country, and one thing is to have population, and that thing is what is the quality of the population, you know, because in Nigeria, majority, one of the major challenges we have in this country, apart from poverty, is illiteracy. You know, many Nigerians don't have access to quality education. Many of our youth are not literate, so you can't do more than you know. You know, that's why I see majority of our youth are carrying plates up and down begging, you know, instead of producing. So what India did was that they deliberately, you know, educated their population. So they are now producing. You know, when you talk of a major telecommunication giant today, you know, you think of India. You know, because so government needs to be deliberate about the educational program. You know, like China, they took education to the grassroots. The same thing in India. So let's develop this our population. If you can develop the population will be productive. But what we have now, we just have population is growing, the economy is not growing. Why? Because the population is not producing.
Our educational system seems to be glorifying certificates more than ability. What role should the way and manner we tailored our education through a targeted curriculum that focused on national developmental strategy, to what extent can this enable us to defeat poverty?
Government needs to be deliberate about education, you know, by implementing many educational policies that we have. But the problem we have is change of government, you know, instability. You know, one government will come up with a policy, maybe the next government will not implement it or will not continue the implementation. You know, for example, in Ghana, you know, it's their best brains that go into education. You know, their teachers is their best brain that go into teaching.
Because it's a life wire of a nation.
Life wire, yeah. But in Nigeria, you know, people go into education maybe just as a source of living. No, must have the passion, must have the qualification.
Like the government is saying that if you take to education degree, you pursue education at the degree level, they will be paying the students 75,000 naira per month in order to encourage qualitative teachers emergence and the rest of it. Is it the way to go?
Yeah, I know. The problem we are having in this country is implementation. You know, you cannot be, you know, when you formulate policy, you know, how far can you go with the implementation? You know, and if we, you know, do what India did with their population, China did with their population, we have the same result. You know, but all boils down to a leadership, because a leader must be a visionary personality. A leader must know where it's going, and I know that good time will come. God will give us a good leader that will adopt India's system and China's system, and
why not evolving Nigeria's system?
No, Nigeria, the way it is now, our system is not strong enough. Why? Because of implementation, because of political will. You know, because the major challenge I told you, you know, about Nigerian system is this spirit of nationalism. You know, because the majority of Nigerians don't see themselves as Nigerian first. They see themselves as maybe Igbo, Yoruba, you know, Hausa, before they see themselves as a Nigerian. You know, so until we are patriotic enough to see Nigeria as Nigeria, you know, I don't think we'll move forward. So we need this spirit of patriotism.
How do you think we can engineer such spirit?
Yeah, you know, we need a national reorientation. You know, let's you know, so Nigeria can become a nation, not just a country. Because the nation should have the same philosophy, ideology, vision, a goal to pursue. You know, so we must come together as one. We should not see ourselves first as Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, or Igala. We should see ourselves first as a Nigerian with one purpose and goal. So any leader, regardless of where he comes from, you know you are coming to pursue Nigerian vision and go, just like other countries.
So if you will advise Nigeria political leadership on how to defeat poverty, what will be your final word to them? We're rounding up.
We should try and improve on our GDP via agriculture and technology, because the way it is now, we are producing primary goods for export. We are not producing finished good. When we are bringing technology, we can convert our primary product to finished good, because at the international level, it's what you can produce that determines the respect they give to you. So as long as Nigeria and African countries are still exporting primary goods, unprocessed goods, I think we still remain poor. So I advise Nigerian government to invest on agriculture and technology.
Invest on agriculture and technology so that we can defeat poverty. Yes, Nigeria is not the poverty capital of the world. You have heard it. Nigeria is having the largest economy in the continent of Africa with GDP of 440 billion. Nigeria is having one of the highest gross national income comparatively around the world, with about 2,000 being the gross national income of Nigeria per capita. So when we take all of this into consideration, and knowing that Nigeria is also about the 47, 48 in the aggregate placement of the 2020-2021, even we are ahead of India, then all of those talks about Nigeria being the world capital of poverty is nonsensical. Yeah. But we are not saying that there is no poverty in the land. We are saying our government should do more. They are trying, but they should do more to make sure that we appropriately feed our population, lift our population out of poverty, because our people that are well fed will be able to reason appropriately, innovatively, in order to create wealth and participate in innovation and creativity that can lead to nation building. This is where we will be drawing the curtain today on nationalism and you. And we have been talking with Mr. Yusuf Sunday Acho.
It's my pleasure. That's
we hope when we have the time to invite you to our station again, you will make yourself available.
Definitely.
And we are still on This Morning on ITV. Please do not change the channel, because you know ITV will always be here to give it to you throughout the day, to educate you, to inform you, and to keep you abreast. Don't change the channel. Remember, ITV is certainly the best on nationalism and you. Until we come back to you next week, Thursday, I remain your host, Ebenezer Oyetakin.